All right, so number 7, this is a very important one, and we can see that it says there's transformations listed. So when there's transformations listed, you want to be precise. That's where we're going to be using the table. Okay, so first, let's just go through and see what transformations there are. What's the first transformation I see right there? Vertical shrink. Oh gosh, that's really sloppy. Vertical shrink by 1/2. That's right. Okay, and then the next transformation right here. Left 1, and then right here, down 4. Okay, now this is where we go to our table. Remember, we always have the same 5 starting points. What are they? Negative 2, 4. Negative 1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 4. Very good. Okay, and this is now, we change the values based on our transformation. So our first transformation says vertical shrink by 1/2. So what would that do to my table values? Divide by 2, but in the x or y values? The y. Why did you say the y values? Because y is vertical, right. So we take all the y values and that vertical stretch by 1/2. We divide everything by 2, which is the same thing as multiplying everything by 1/2. So if I just divide everything by 2 like this, what's 4 divided by 2? 2. And then 1/2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2, and 4 divided by 2 is. Okay, so this is where I'm at so far, right? Now with the next transformation, left 1, what does that do to my table values? Subtract 1 from the x's, right? And how did you know it's the x's? Because it's horizontal, left 1, right? So we subtract 1 from all the x's. So there's not really space, but what's negative 2 minus 1? Negative 3. What's negative 1 minus 1? 0 minus 1? 1 minus 1? And 2 minus 1? 1. So now that's where I'm at. And my last transformation, after this last transformation, that will give me my finishing points, right? So down 4, what would that do to my table values?
Subtract your y's.
Subtract the y's by 4, right? So we take all these and subtract 4. So what is 2 minus 4? Negative 2. What's 1/2 minus 4? Negative 3.5. That's right. What's 0 minus 4? Negative 4. And then 1/2 minus 4 again is negative 3.5. And 2 minus 4 was negative 2. And so this, the outermost values tells us our points, right? We've got negative 3, negative 2. So that's one of my points. Negative 3, negative 2. My next point is negative 2, negative 3.5. So somewhere about here. My next point, negative 1, negative 4 right here. Then we've got 0, negative 3.5, which is right here. And we got 1, negative 2, which is right here. And so we can see right there, that's going to be our parabola. So we just connect this. Boom. Like that. Okay, and so now we need to identify all of the attributes they told us to find. So what is the domain here?
Negative infinity to positive.
Negative infinity to positive infinity. And remember, this is always the same, right? It's always the same. That's the freebie. The domain is always negative infinity to positive infinity. So you could literally on the test just go to any blank that says domain and write that in there. All right, as for the range, what's the range then?
Negative 4.
Whoa. Negative 4, right? That's this lowest point right here. To positive infinity. And what are my signs around each one? Bracket and then parentheses, right. Okay, now what is the vertex? Negative 1, negative 4, right? That, okay, and then what's the x-intercepts? This is where you have to estimate a little bit, so just take a look at this graph. What do you think these are about? Negative 3.5, right? That's good enough. Negative, oh, why did I put comma? Negative 3.5 and then comma. How do you write a point though? 0, right? Negative 3.5, 0, and
1.5.
1.5, 0, right? Remember to write it as points, okay? If you just write the number, that's going to be wrong. What is the y-intercept here? That's exact. It's right here. It's from our table as well. But how do you write the point? 0, negative 3.5. Right. You need to write the point, or otherwise you're going to get counted wrong because it's supposed to be a point. Axis of symmetry, what's that going to be? X equals negative 1. That's right. Remember, it's always the same as the vertex's x value as well. What is the minimum value here? Negative 4. And what's the maximum value? None. Right? If it's infinity, it's none because infinity is not a point. All right, and that is number, what is this one? 7.